Man, oh man, where do we go from here? After such a beautiful, historic, epic, uh, I don't even know what to say, man. This breaks my heart, bro. My heart goes out to UConn women's basketball team, UConn Nation. Once again, referees have interjected themselves into the game, essentially deciding the game. UConn didn't even get a playoff, bro. Uh, as you can see in this visual, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Salute. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's Tony the Savant. I'm back again. And we got to talk about this egregious call tonight. I don't know what else to do, man. On one end, you need referees, right? To make these calls and to officiate the game to make sure the playing field is fair, I guess. But then on the other end, when they make these horrible, heartbreaking, game changing calls, and you just rip the opportunity for one side or the one team to compete. Um, Again, bro, I just don't know what else to say because I really feel bad for UConn. Um, I can say that I have been entertained with the Caitlin Clark show, the Caitlin Clark ride. It's been fun, but it's gonna be a blemish on her, legacy after this, man. And I know she ain't have nothing to do with it. It's just if she goes on to win, and I mean Iowa goes on to win, and they beat South Carolina in the championship game. Um, Everybody's gonna just forget that this happened and just move on. And I don't know if I'll be able to do that. Because this hurts. I didn't really have a dog in this race per se. I didn't care who won between Iowa and the UConn, as both these teams have impressed me what they've been able to do this season. Um, especially how the last round the Elite Eight went. Paige Buckers put on a world class performance. Caitlin Clark got her revenge against LSU. This was a good, the stage was set for this to be an epic classic, another classic matchup in this women's basketball tournament. Man, it's just this is why people are turned off from sports, man, because of stuff like this. You know, UConn, if they had a fair shot, and if they would have lost, you know, on their own merit, I promise you that there would have been more people watching UConn next year. I'm talking casual fans. If UConn could have just lost honorably. See, because now it's going to be a subsect of people saying that sports are rigged, all of that blah, blah. The typical hoopla. When you see a call like this, at this point in the game, with so much on the line, heartbreaking, man. There's no other way to even say it. No other way to say it. Gabby Marshall sold the call. This is why I hate flopping. This is why I truly despise one LeBron James. Yeah, it comes back to that fool because this thing flopping, selling the call that everybody does now. It's nasty work, bro. Gabby Marshall, man, she had a pretty big night tonight. Can't take nothing away from her, but the theatrics at the end of the game. Uh, and I can't even blame her. It's the referees, bro. It's the referees. There's no way in the world you're supposed to make that call at this point in the game, respectfully. And that's why I say, man, on I'll be really on the line of saying that we do not need referees in the game. I almost want to say that, dead ass, because this is ridiculous. Again, another classic sports event tarnished by horrible refereeing. And I wouldn't even say horrible refereeing. You know, I think it was fairly okay throughout the game. I didn't really see nothing egregious over the top anyway. But this last call, just this is heartbreaking, man. And these are kids. I know everybody's getting money now and NILs and all that kind of stuff, but not all of these kids are going to go on to the professional level and play. This is the biggest stage, the biggest moments of their life, and to have it, uh, no other way to say it, stolen from them. It's heartbreaking. I can't think of any other word to describe it. Because of course, Paige Buckers, backers, she's gonna go on to. Well, I gotta see. I think she may just be a junior, so she may have another year, another run at it. But she may go on to the draft as well, as a lot of the people that she's come up with in her era, like Haley Van Lift, just went into the portal. But Caitlin Clark will be entering the draft. I know Angel Reese, Camilla Cardoso had a big night tonight. South Carolina and Ho had a big night tonight. Shout out to them. Able to get that win. They won in dominating fashion, which I pretty much predicted. That's how I seen that matchup going down. I'm interested to see, excuse me, what Iowa is going to be able to do against that powerhouse South Carolina. Now, Caitlin Clark, I believe it was last year. She's already slayed this particular giant. So, can she do it again? This has been, a tournament of revenge, if you will, with Caitlin Clark getting her revenge on LSU. I think this is South Carolina's opportunity to get their revenge on Caitlin Clark for last year. Because I think, it was Caitlin Clark that put them out of the tournament last year. That was the last time they took a loss. So can Caitlin do it again? Can she slay this giant twice? South Carolina is undefeated again going into this matchup against Caitlin Clark, just like last year. Instead of it being, I think it was the Final Four last year. Instead of it being the Final Four, I forget when they got eliminated last year. Elite Eight or Final Four. Excuse me. It's the title game, and it's going to be, it's going to be some question marks. It's going to be some questions answered. Outside of this heartbreaking call, I do enjoy the Caitlin Clark show. The Caitlin Clark hype ride has been pretty dope. To see her finish this off, it would be nice, I guess. But like I say, I'll always remember Caitlin Clark's ascension into superstardom. This is going to be a part of it. This is always going to be a part of it. That unfair offensive foul against UConn. Because I've also been on record with saying that Paige Buckers is my new favorite female basketball player. I think she is the real deal. She is the most complete basketball player in women's college basketball right now. She reminds me a lot of Tim Duncan and Kobe Bryant, with her mentality and her skill set. So I was, kind of cheering for her, personally. I love Coach Gino as well, but also I didn't really have like I said, a dog in this race. Whoever would have won, I would have been totally happy with. I am happy, that Caitlin Clark can continue on her mission and quest of winning the championship and uh, sealing the sealing her position, I guess, or her label or title as the greatest college player of all time. Adding a championship to that would definitely, enhance her resume. So, I mean, I'm not mad that Iowa Hawkeyes advanced. I'm just a little upset at how things transpired. Yet again, referees have interjected themselves into a major sporting event. Just at a time when women's sports are growing and everybody's, at least from what I've been seeing, including me. Now, I really wasn't interested in uh, what was going on per se, like in the beginning of the season. I mean, I guess I was. I've been really paying attention to women's basketball since Angel Reese went to LSU. That was my favorite. She was my favorite until I started paying attention to Paige Backers this season. And really, Paige, it was kind of like a back and forth, but Paige still did last that last game against USC. She just put on a virtuoso performance. She had a couple jump shots, some mid-range jump shots that really, impressed me, and her resilience during that matchup against USC, her ability to keep her team in it. To her credit, she was the leader, and she took this team as far as it could go. Uh, I'm gonna do a video, highlighting UConn uh, just being shorthanded, man. It was unfortunate that they lost. I think it was 4 or 5 players, all key players as well. Played a key, in the role, played key roles last year. Um, while Paige was dealing with her injury that sat her down for the season, I should say. So you need those troops, when you're in battle. Unfortunately, they weren't available. So shout out to Paige. Shout out to the UConn Huskies. Shout out to Aaliyah Edwards, man. She put on a pretty good performance this evening. Showed up. I believe she got into some foul trouble. Either her, Arnold. I gotta look back at the stats and look at the stat. Everything. I'm gonna be honest, man. I was glued to the screen this entire game, but as soon as that foul happened, bro, I was just disgusted because as a lifelong sports fan, I may have to do a video or a documentary on all of the horrible sports, all of the horrible referee calls I've seen in my time watching sports. Actual moments in real time. I remember watching the event and just being like, "Yo, what is this ref? Why do we have referees? You know what I mean? These dudes should not be this involved." And I feel like UConn had the opportunity to go to the championship game ripped away from them. I mean, if you need any other visual, just look at Coach Gino's reaction to that offensive foul. Coach Gino is usually relatively cool, calm, throughout the game, all the way through the intense moments. But, again, I just feel bad for UConn, bro. I just do. And I'm not a UConn fan or anything like that. Just as a team that has been through so much, as much as they have been through this season. Again, losing 5 key players throughout the season, still finding a way to win games. Go get this far in the tournament, all the way into the Final Four. If they would have been able to win it all, that would have been a dope story. If you really know Paige Backer's story, that would have been good for them. But it didn't work out. So we'll see what happens next year. I think Paige is available, will be eligible for of course, another year of college. But I think she is only a junior. She may be a junior. I think she is, but she may be eligible for a 5th year with the COVID, deal that the 2020 class got. But yeah, man, you know, Congratulations to Caitlin Clark and the Hawkeyes. They really got a good team, man. The young lady, Hannah Stalky, I want to say. Now, I'll be honest, as far as the Hawkeyes go, I haven't had the opportunity to really just, sit and watch them play a lot. And when they do, I'll be biased. I'll be honest. I'm kind of biased. I just watch for Caitlin Clark. So all of the other players, I mean, I remember Stalky having like a 47-point game, Hannah Stalky. Um, I remember that. And I remember, well, I ain't gonna say I remember, yeah, because like I say, when I watched the Iowa Hawkeyes, it was purely to scout Caitlin Clark. But tonight, I'll be frank and to say that the other players, not named Caitlin Clark on the Iowa Hawkeyes, stepped up. Gabby Marshall, as you can see in this visual, um, made some timely plays, had a few big baskets. Hannah Stalky was just doing her thing. She was the consistent force. Caitlin Clark didn't have a fantastic night, especially in the first quarter. I mean, the first half. And but Hannah Stalky was the consistent force tonight, all throughout the game, providing Iowa with some stability and some timely buckets. What's that young lady, Kate? I wrote their names. Kate Martin has a big game tonight. Um, yeah, Gabby Marshall. Those are the four I was thinking of off the top of my head. All had big games tonight. Did their thing. Can't take nothing away from Iowa. Again, these referees, bro. I wish there was more that we can do as fans to hold them accountable. Because, excuse me, I'm not trying to incite any violence or anything like that. But sometimes these referees, man, they just make me want to fight them. Like why, bro? Like why? Why take this opportunity again from these young ladies after women's sports has been going through what they've been going through, like the deprivation of attention that women's sports has been suffering through for years, decades. The WNBA is only 28 years old, right? It's kind of hard, crazy to think about because I'm 35. So the WNBA, I'm older than the WNBA, but in the same breath, the WNBA has only been around for 28 years, and with this class of young ladies in college basketball right now, the WNBA could definitely, certainly capitalize off of all of the attention that has been garnished, I say, within the last 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Definitely 2 to 4 years of women's college basketball. We've watched these young ladies grow up and become legends in their own right. I'm talking Paige Backers. I'm talking the young lady Cameron Brink, uh, Killer Camilla, as Coach Dawn say. Shout out to Coach Dawn winning another Coach of the Year award, getting those uh, Gamecocks looking like a powerhouse in women's sports. Honestly, to Coach Dawn, I say Coach Summit, Coach Patton, Coach Gino. They are in a class of their own, on top of the hill of women's college basketball coaches. But Coach Dawn is fastly approaching. She's knocking on the door to enter that class with them. I forget. I don't know how many championships she has, but I know that this is her third Coach of the Year, and I gotta look and see how many championships she has. But again, shout out to her. Kudos, to her hard work, her resilience. Coaching is not easy. I've done coaching. I only coach kids, and it's stressful. I can imagine coaching adults and coaching young adults that's making money out here now too. So yeah, man. Again, like great game, classic, beautiful tournament. Through and through. But somehow, some way, and I should have known. I should have known that eventually these referees would find a way to ruin or interject themselves into this tournament. I didn't think so. I want to be honest, man. I've always thought that college refereeing was Okay, especially in the basketball world. I've never really had a problem with college basketball refereeing. Unlike the NBA and the NFL, where I have a disdain for their referees. Those guys are just like a pain in my backside, if you will. College referees have never really bothered me, but this right here, this is top five, man. This is top five most egregious calls I've ever watched in real time. You know what I mean? Uh, because this was just a great game, back and forth. You know, UConn was doing their thing. You know, they came out hot, looking like just the class of women's basketball that they are. You know, right there with Tennessee, like I say, I would say UConn is the standard, and South Carolina is fastly approaching. Stanford is another one of those powerhouses of the women's basketball. But you know, great back and forth again between these two teams. You had everything you could ask for in the game. You know, the stars came out. They wasn't very hot, but both Caitlin Clark and Paige Backers was doing everything else. You know, when they were didn't really have their offense going on, they were doing everything else on the court. Kudos to Caitlin Clark, especially, man, because Caitlin Clark, man, what I'm noticing about her, she hit some big shots in the clutch. You know, when they got down to that fourth quarter, she hit a couple of middies that really impressed me. But what I noticed about Caitlin Clark, man, she really has that mentality. You know, she really has that that I'm gonna say it like this, that it factor. You know, I was kind of worried that, and I think I said this in a stream about her that I made about her a couple episodes ago, but I was kind of worried that she was just turning into just one of those offensive hype, offensive weapon types. I hate to say it, boy, like Kelsey Plum, you know, and I only thought about that because Kelsey was on that little show with Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi, which wasn't too horrible. I mean, they really wasn't talking about the game. I see what they trying to do, kind of rip off the whole Peyton and Eli thing. Uh, Other than the fact that they really wasn't paying attention to the game at some spurts. Uh, I liked it. You know, it was pretty cool. It's pretty decent. See if they can add that into the WNBA for sure. As like I say, this class of young ladies in this college, in this last 4 years, I should say, all of the stars, and now all of these new stars between like Juju and Isaiah James. Uh, you know, women's college basketball, the future is bright. And so hopefully that translates over to the WNBA as well. I'm rooting for that, as I will be following the Caitlin Clarks and the Angel Reeses and Killer Camillas. I'm interested to see how their professional careers pan out. But this will be a blemish anytime I think about this time in women's sports and women's basketball and just basketball, period. Because what these girls are doing is very impressive. They making more noise for themselves than the professionals. They're making more noise than the guys, the guys tournament across the way. And then they're also making more noise than even the professional, basketball player, the NBA guys. You know, I think uh, these games are. I'm not sure. I have to check the ratings. Let me not cap. Let me not cap. But I would definitely not be surprised to see if a number of women's basketball games, especially in this tournament, has been getting higher viewership than some NBA games. I would not, that wouldn't shock me because these young ladies carry themselves like professionals. They carry themselves, very well. You know, as far as like if you got a daughter or something, I wouldn't mind my daughter looking up to Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese. You know, and they also are showing and improving on the court. You know, uh, definitely showing that they have game and they're going to be capable of being legendary players on the next level. But again, just want to always highlight that this moment here is going to be One of those moments that it always would not sit right with me when I think about sports. I'm trying to think of another time. It was a game between the Packers. You know, I don't mean to get off topic, but the Packers and the Seahawks, where I felt like the refereeing was really bad in that game too. I want to say it was an NFC game. It may not have been just on the referees because I remember one game we just gave it away. Russell Wilson had like 5 interceptions, and that game was short. It was just horrible. But nonetheless, it was. I'm trying to think of another game or another time where these referees have really disgusted me. I can't think of one right now because I'm still kind of down. I'm not gonna lie, I'm down. I'm really kind of hurt for UConn. I'm really hurt that this tournament had to be blemished and tarnished with a call like this. So unexpected, so horrible, so untimely, and it's like I say, it's always gonna not sit well with me. But I'm trying to think of another time where these referees have disgusted me. I will definitely find one. I'm definitely gonna find one. Won't be difficult at all to do that. But that's all I got for y'all on this one, man. Hope y'all enjoyed the show. Tell me what you think about this particular call in this game. How do you feel about it? Was it even? I didn't even think about it. Was this a good call? Because honestly, it was this Aaliyah Edwards. I couldn't say. I think that's Miss Edwards, the young lady that actually set the pick. She she looked solid to me. Basketball fundamentals, mind the game. She looked solid to me. Boxed up. She didn't. Her feet wasn't moving. Um, so that makes the call even more egregious. I can see if the girl actually like did something and then uh she actually was like, in the wrong, and then the referees just had to make the call. Like that call they made against Patrick Mahomes, and Pat Mahomes all tripped out. The offsides they had made against the Chiefs that one game, and Patrick Mahomes was throwing a tantrum. It's like, bro, yeah, we get it. Referees shouldn't interject themselves in such a close game like that, especially on the last play. But bro, he was in the wrong because that particular receiver, I can't remember if it was MVS or Rasheed Wireless. I mean, excuse me, Rasheed Rice, whoever it was. But that particular play, if you remember it, the Chiefs wide receiver was in the wrong, and the referee made the right call. It just happened to be at the end of the game, where at such a good game too. It did suck that the game ended like that. But Patrick Mahomes was tripping like referees shouldn't interject themselves in the game. Like, yeah, and I get what he's saying. Um, but that really only applies. I would say that applies more to this scenario, this situation where the young lady looks solid. She looks like she boxed up. Aaliyah Edwards, I want to say that is. She boxed up, body just right. All of the fundamentals is there. Um, as me as a basketball player, I'm looking at the play right now. I'm not calling this call if I'm a referee. All of this call was sold by Gabby Marshall. That's the only way. I think that's the young lady's name. By number 24. This call was sold by Marshall. That's the only way this call gets off. There's no way you can say on just a basic look at it like, oh yeah, that's a clear as day, offensive foul. I don't think anybody that knows the game of basketball and not even a casual would say that, you know. But like I said, man, it's just so egregious, so sad. Again, um, that this game was such a good game, an instant classic on paper. Excuse me, had to end this way. But that's all I got for y'all on this one. It is your boy Tony. That's about.